Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make some alternative ideas using the April 2025 Inked Occasions paper pumpkin kit. I mean, for starters, this is the box it comes in, never mind the ingredients on the inside, one of which is the full colour instructions which every kit contains, and it shows you how to make the 9 cards in this instance in this kit. But we are going to take those apart and expand it. The first video I did in this series, I took 3 of the envelopes and 1 of the die cuts and made 3 cards. So there will be a link to that video and all the other ones. As the series goes on, I link the older videos to the newer ones. So that's what I've done so far as this goes live. So these are the 3 card bases, and they are just gorgeous. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 1 of each base and I'm going to expand that. The first one we're going to work with is this gorgeous specimen. So I cut it in half, and then the interesting thing is this is a turned around image. It's like a diagonal inverted mirror image. I'm not quite sure the technicalities of that, but if you cut it in half and turn it around, they're both the same. So of course, half a card would measure 4 1/4. I cut it in half again. So each piece measures 2 1/8 by 5 1/2. So I'll pop that off to one side and bring in my ingredients for those cards. So we're going to get 4 out of 1 card base with this one. So here it is. Here's 1/4 of the card. And then every quarter, they bring out add-on coordinating dies, and if you're a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, you can order this. So hugs is the word that's in this kit, but it's got this lovely die cut, and I thought I would use that today. So one of the stamps is thinking of you, so I went ahead and stamped it in various colors. I didn't think it was necessary to watch me stamp a gorgeous grape one, stamp a flirty flamingo one. So I've gone ahead and stamped those because the stamping of it will become evident as we go through. However, what I did do was I stamped them with my spots. The Berry Burst is the spot that came in this month's Paper Pumpkin kit. And I'm away from home right now. I'm not where my usual craft room is. So what I brought with me was this little box, and someone had asked me, where did I get it from? It's actually an old rubber stamp set that was wood mounted. It says It's Your Birthday, which is really old and retired, but conveniently it's the size to carry 24 little ink spots, and all these spotsVe got from being a Paper Pumpkin subscriber. So I just brought myself a little rainbow worth. And quite often I say, oh, you can use the spot, but I'm going to bring in the large pad because I have it. Because I'm away from home, I haven't got them this time, so I am going to show you just how reliable and effective having the spots is. So like I say, I went ahead and I stamped Thinking of You. I die cut this out of basic white, and I stamped this one with Berry Burst. So I took a piece of gorgeous grape, 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, scored it at 4 1/4. All the cards I'm making today, that's the measurement. And like I said, if I hadn't buried it, all the directions and dimensions for all of the cards will be on my blog a little bit later. So I'm going to take this 1/8 of a card and just put some rolling adhesive, or the adhesive of your choice, and stick it over on the hinge side, on the fold side. So we've already got a nice card going on. And then this one. So what I'm going to do is in the stamps, let me just stamp these. This is a copy of all the stamps. They've got these cute little butterfly stamps. And what I'm going to do is I've got one of them, and I'm going to bring in the gorgeous grape ink, but I'm not going to stamp it full strength. I'm going to do the lovely little stamp it off technique. So I'm going to do it full strength, stamp it off, and put one up there. One there. and one there. So we've now got a little bit of extra to the card. And then what I'm going to do is I am just going to pop a couple of dimensionals on the back of here. And my joke usually is, let me just peel these off and fling them across my stamping room. Well, I'm not in my stamping room, so I'm going to have to be a little more circumspect and neat and tidy. So we'll just pop that in place. Now, the other thing is, this is a dark cardstock. We are going to put some basic white on the inside. I took a full sheet of basic white and I cut it into 3.5, 3 5/8 sections, and then cut it across at 4 1/4, because you then get 6 pieces this size and they can go nicely on the inside. So I will go ahead and put this one in, but of course you don't need to sit and watch me attach pieces of basic white inside all of the cards as we go along, but I do always like to show you the concept of it. So this is the finished card 1 from that set. Next piece is Pool Party. So again, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. But what I'm going to do to bring out the color of this one is I took a 1/2 inch piece of the Gorgeous Grape, and I'm just going to bring in my silicone mat so I don't get sticky on my work surface. So it's going to go at this side. So down here, I am just going to put a little bit of adhesive. And attach it. I mean, you can attach it as wide as you would like it to be. I just want a little bit to peek out, like I say, to sort of tie in all the colours. And then put some adhesive on there, and again attach it to the fold side of the card and hope it's even. The only way I can get that even usually is to stick my head in the way, and I do try to avoid that when I can. So now I'm going to pop this in here, but I'm going to bring back in the little butterfly, and I am going to stamp it in Pool Party. And put 2 up there and 1 down here. So give that a clean, because that's going to be a well-used little stamp. So again, 2 dimensionals on the back. Peel the backings off respectfully and then pop those on. And this card, I stamped it full strength Gorgeous Grape because it ties in with that card. Then we're going to move on to the Flirty Flamingo. So this is, again, it has a piece of the Gorgeous Grape because I felt it helped tie everything together. And before I left home, before I ran away from New Jersey down to the Floridian warmth, because it was a little chilly when I left, I had placed my demonstrator pre-order for all the lovely, lovely stuff that is going to be released in the new catalogue on May 6th. So again, same concept. We are just going to stick this, oh, you know what? I can see I didn't give that a good crease with my bone folder. So we will attach that there. Full strength Gorgeous Grape. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of the lovely new doodads because I am rather a fan. And these are the new in colours. These are the 25, 27, 24, 26. 25, 27. I was right. I don't know why I doubted myself. These are the new in colours. And although it's not one of these colours in here, they're just so lovely. And they seem to do such a great job. So we'll pop. This is Timid Tiger. And I think it's a nice enough colour that you don't think, well, Alyson, that doesn't go. It's a lovely glistening, sort of corally orangey colour, and it also helps pick out this lovely gold detailing in the card. Again, of course, it would have a piece of the basic white inside, so we'll just make believe that we did that. And then last but not least, I thought, oh, nothing makes a card pop more than a lovely bit of black. So this one I'm going to do with black, but I tore the edge of this one. I just tore it all the way down, and then it's left with the solid. So same concept. We'll stick the edge on and do it on the silicone mat so no sticky gets on the work surface. So we'll just have a torn edge just for a different look. But again, when all is said and done, it's the same concept, and it's just going to get stuck to the folded side of the card. Oops. And Flirty Flamingo is one of the official colours, because on the back of the instruction sheet, which is quite nice actually, they always let you know what are the coordinating colours. So that one can go there. Two dimensionals. Pop it on, and this time I'm going to use, oh my gosh, see, this is what happens when you don't have a floor to throw these on. They get on your work surface. I am just going to use some of these lovely dark ones, and they will help pick out the black and add to the drama. So it's more or less the same card, it's just one's more purpley, this one's got a really strong black presence. So these are the first four that we got out of this one card base. So I'll pop those over there. So hopefully I'll remember where they are. So a bit later I'm going, oh no, I don't know where they are. So the next cards are these ones. And they are made from this card base, which I simply cut in half. So the thing is, the first one, the kit comes with this lovely die cut. It comes with the floral die cut that I made the envelopes from, but it comes with this lovely gold hugs with a little greeting. And I thought, I don't want to not make one of those cards. So actually, my first card is not an alternative at all. It's just an as is. So, oh, hold on just a sec. My rolling adhesive is having a moment. Sometimes when they are new, they don't always cooperate. So there we are. So I have got just the quarter. I'm just going to bring in my silicone mat so I've got a contrast so I can see better where to place it. And when you're adding cardstock to a base that is the same size, it's always advisable to start at the fold side, because if there's any difference and you need to trim it, it's easier to trim it off an open edge than it is to trim it off a folded edge. But as luck would have it, that just worked. Woo! Thank you, Stamping Gods. So then I'm going to bring in one of the little die cuts, and you might see it's got sort of a rounded and a straight and a rounded and a straight edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in, well, the hugs can go on. So as per the instructions in the kit, you just add little dimensionals that come in the kit to the back. But some of the places were small, so they suggested cutting them in half, and rather than you watch me do all of that, Sometimes it's painful enough when I'm making lots of cards to watch me peel the backing bits off. So let's get it the right way up. So there's the hugs. And just stick those down on their dimensionals. And then we'll bring in the berry burst. I had this set for another card, but I am going to do, oh my gosh, I can't see what they say. Hugs, you are amazing. So we'll take the stamp we don't want off. And then ink it up. I think the only difference with the spots is usually you have to lay the stamp down and apply the ink to it inverted rather than the other way. So let's put you are amazing. And then of course the really nice thing is you can see through the acrylic block to see where your placement goes, so you tend to have a lot more success. All right, let me just pop the other greeting back where it wants to be for a later card. And then I'm just going to pop 2 of the mini dimensionals on the back of here. It's going to go over the G for the hug, so we just need 1 on each of the ends. Because the G will support the middle, you don't have to worry about that sort of sagging down. There you go. Hugs, you are amazing. So this is really the card as intended. The only difference is, the only alteration really is that I backed it onto a piece of basic white cardstock, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. So it saved the other piece to make a second card from. So I'll pop that off to one side for that one. This one is the same deal really, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, basic white. And then we are going to attach it. Uh-oh. My rolling adhesive is not. It's rolling compromised. And then again, same trick to, now let's have a look. Do we want the strong at the top or the strong at the bottom? Let's put the strong at the, well, this one has it at the bottom, so let's do it at the top on this one. So again, oh, silicone matte, dark contrast always helps you stick something too white when it's lying on a piece of white grid paper. So there it's on its base. And now here is a little trick. The kit came with punch outs, and this is going to say thinking of you. So let's do that first, and then it will show up, and then you'll be able to see which is, you know, the front side and which is the underneath. So because you can see through, I'm just going to stand up because I really don't want to stick my head in the way, but I do sort of need to see to make sure I've got this positioned as best I can. There we go. Now we've got thinking of you, but I didn't want to just put it on. I wanted to pick out this lovely peach pie, which is one of the current in colors, and have a border. So what I did was, let me just see where, I laid this down on the front and I drew around it and then fussy cut it out. So what I did was, just so you could see where I was fussy cutting it, I actually went and drew around it again. So you can see I just went sort of, you know, 1/8 of an inch around. I can do that freehand. I know some people like to have it sort of written down or laid out for them to have a line to cut. So face it down And then you can either draw around it and expand it or just go around. And then the nice thing is when you flip it over, all the lovely pencil markings are on the back and this just sticks on the front. So let me just go ahead and stick that onto its little die cut. I mean, if you don't want to do that, if you look at it and like gasp in horror, you can just put a little oval or a little rectangle. I just felt it needed something behind to give it a little bit more of pizzazz. So I'm going to lay that down and then I'm going to bring in this lovely little butterfly again. I told you it's gonna be worth its weight, this little guy. So we'll put one there, and one down there. I think that was pretty much one of the suggestions of one of the cards, to surround it with little things. So let me bring in my large dimensionals. It's like I say, flip it over, draw around it, cut around it, or just say, whoo, Alyson, heck no, to heck with that, girl. I'm just going to stick an oval or something behind it. And there you have a second card. It's sort of along the same lines-ish, but as you can see, this one has the big at the bottom, this one has the big at the top, but now I can show you how they're just sort of like the inverted mirror image of each other. So there's 2 more cards with that one. And then moving on to the last card in the series. Here it is. Here's the card. And here are the ingredients. Oh my gosh, again, covered with bits of stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a ZZ fold card, because why would we not? So ZZ, 8.5 by 4.5, scored at 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I'm going to do it this way. Scored at 4 1/4, and then also scored back on itself at 2 1/8. Or you can just fold it and then fold it back, but I do like to pre-score mine. And then I have the card cut in half, and then what we're going to do is we are going to cut this in half. I was going to cut it down, and I thought, no, don't want to. So make sure you have it at 2 1/8. And just cut it in half. And I'm going to put the fresh freezery side over here on mine. So we just need to put that on. So again, we're doing it on the fold side basically, but the gold is going to the left. I hope I'm not getting my head in there. I'm concentrating so hard. Don't want to make a mistake. And there we go. So that half is going on there. Satin, fatin, rattin. Dick Dastardly. Oh, I keep coming up with all these old TV shows, don't I? We've had Yogi Bear in the last series, and this one is The Wacky Races and Muttley. Come on, you people. Tell me you remember those as well. Don't leave me out here being the only oldie. Wacky Races and Stop the Pigeon. Oh, right. And then we're going to put that on there. So when the card closes, you get the look of the full thing. How nice is that? And then I've got a little piece of Pool Party. And this is 2 1/8 by 3 1/2, and then the little piece of basic white is 2 by 3 3/8. But I am going to bring in the hugs, and I'm going to bring in the Pool Party. Lovely little stamp spot. And put that there. And then the other one is the stamp greeting, and it says, "You sending my love, you are amazing." I just need to line this one up a little bit straight because you'll remember I whipped it off to do the other one. The nice thing about the polymer stamps is you can actually bend them. The disadvantage of the polymer stamps is that you can bend them. So we'll give it our best shot. It's going onto the basic white with fresh freesia. Sending my love because you are amazing. I'm running out of washing space on my little washing station. And guess what we are going to use? Well, goodness me, how did you work that one out? So, again, some little fresh freesia butterflies. They're really just sort of a little space filler rather than having too much white around. It's just really nice to have a little something that you can put. Oh, sorry, bear with me, people. I am sorry because I didn't bring all of my entire sticky station with me. I am a little bit short on duplicates, and you know, goodness me, Murphy's Law, the one I brought would be the dodgy one. So we'll just map that around, and then using our usual ZZ fold trick, we want to make sure we don't exceed the halfway and stick the card closed. So put it in place, flip it from top to bottom, and then put the adhesive on the left hand side. So when you fold it back over, you are going to get the piece. And then of course there's all this lovely, you could even write a lot if you wanted to. But then we've got a ZZ fold card. These colours pick out these colours, but the border matches all the way around. So there's that one. So we are trucking along, my loves. Just to remind you, one side had the gold, and this is the boring backside. So I don't think so. So anyway, again, the trick is to 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I did a bus tour one time. I think it was in Liverpool. Well, I did Liverpool and Glasgow in the same trip, and it was so much fun. But what they'd done was, rather than the driver having to keep remembering, as we went past each location, I guess he just pressed a button and then a voice that wasn't his came out and gave a little bit of history on what we were seeing. So yeah, I need a button. I need one of those Staples easy buttons that says 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. All right, there we go. We have got it on the front. And one of the die cuts in the kit is this lovely, gorgeous goldness. And the hugs, as I said, here's the hugs. So I cut that out of Pool Party in one of the last quarters when this was an add-on. I used this piece because I felt it went better with the golden die. And what I'm going to do is just simply cut it in half because I want to expand it. And the hugs is going to go on, but what we'll do is we will put a little bit of adhesive on the gold circle, or the gold semicircle. And it can go, I like to do that because these sides were more angled, so it had a better look to it. So there we go. The hugs is going to go on in just a second, but what we need to do is we need to stamp a little word here. So we will say hugs, you are amazing, or how about sending my love. So I'll pop that one off to one side, bring in the fresh freesia. And pop that down at the bottom. And then we need to just add some little dots of glue, the mono glue, but only in the bottom half. We don't want to go too high because I'm going to add this with dimensionals and I don't want it to stick down. My glue was a little bit enthusiastic. So there we go. So we have that, and then I just need to bring in some more dimensionals. And pop those on. I would, if I had been at home, probably dug out some gold sequins, but again, away from home, don't have that luxury. So there are the two cards that we got out of this base. So a nice collection, I think. Let me just see if I can fit them all in to lay them out. As always, the directions and dimensions will be on my blog, so you can always check that out. Oh, look, I just about managed it. So there we have it. If you like what you've seen, please consider subscribing. If you like what you've seen, please give me a thumbs up. I thank you in advance for those. The directions and dimensions will always be on my blog. If you'd like to subscribe to Paper Pumpkin, I would absolutely love to be your person. So there is a link to that below. And last but not least, thanks so much for watching.